Hello friends, welcome back to part 2 of the Yardman snowblower deal. Okay, so I took the engine off, as you can see. I took the engine off the Craftsman one. Now with this one here, it bolted, the engine bolts went down through the engine here, and they bolted into the actual bottom plate. And the Yardman, you saw that the bolts came up from the bottom, and in the engine it had threaded holes, in the engine block to hold the engine on. So what I'm going to have to do with this is I'm going to have to go to Tractor Supply and get some nuts and bolts for this. So because we're going to nut and bolt it back on. Okay, so, and another problem I ran into, I noticed the shaft is the same here, but I can't get this old shaft out. I can't get it off. So I took one of my 3 Harbor Freight pullers. They were like $20. I use them all the time. They seem to work good. But now the only problem with this here is the way this claw's on here, I can't get it into the inner part of the pulley, so I'm going in between the outer part here, and it's hanging on pretty good. I just wish I had a clamp. I could clamp these together. I do have huge ties, wire ties. They're the big thick ones, but I'm going to try to see if I can bump this off without having to tie these if we have any problems. I would love to be able to do this by hand, because I really didn't want to use the air gun on it, but there's really no way of holding this pulley from turning, the crankshaft from turning. So let me get the air gun and we'll try it this way, and I'm not having too much faith. What I did was I did spray down in here with PB Blaster and WD, and I went in and had lunch and came back out now, and we'll see if this will come off. I tried to take like a bar here and get behind here, and I was tapping it with the hammer and it just wouldn't budge. So let me see if we have any luck with the air gun. Well, this vibration might cause it to the only problem with this gun is you can't. Okay, so the outer part's coming off here. Now how am I going to get the inner part off? That's going to be a problem. It's definitely going to be a problem. I wonder if I could use the other piece. See, the thing with this is the drive belt was thicker on the Craftsman. The Yardman, like I said, had the Singer sewing machine belt on there. And I would love to get this all off here, but I don't know if that's going to be possible now. Because I'm not going to be able to get these claws back here behind here. I don't know. Let's see. Alright, let me get back to you and say. Well, I hated to do this to the puller, but what I'm doing right here is I'm just shaving some off here. It looks like this. I didn't do this yet. So I'm just shaving some off there because I did take some propane heat. I started heating this up some, the inner part of the pulley here. I got it to move a little bit, but I was sticking the pry bar in between here, and now you're asking for, cracking the block. And we don't want to do that. And I don't want to put too much heat on here because of the seal, the oil seal in there. So this got to be, like every other project, it just got to be an ongoing pain, and I was thinking about leaving that inner part on, but the one that has to go on there, the pulley assembly for the drive, is an actual pulley. It's not like that, so I have to get that off. Okay, so I shaved some more off the jaws, like I told you, and they fit in there pretty good. And I'm not telling you guys to ruin your tools. I'm sure they make a puller special for that, but I'm not buying any specialty tools unless, as long as I can make them. And I didn't ruin the integrity of the jaw. It's still, pretty good. So let's see if it works. And right off it comes. Now there's another spacer on here. I have to see if there was one on the engine. And we should be in pretty good shape now here. I'm going to go get the new pulleys and just make sure they fit on there good. And tomorrow morning I have to buy 1.5 inch long 5/16 nuts and bolts. And we'll probably use lock washers. Yeah, let's see if the pulleys fit on there good. Okay, so let's see what we got here. Oh no. We got a big problem here is what we got. The shaft on this engine's smaller, so it's not gonna work. Alright, so this job is a bust. Not gonna work. Unless somehow I use those old pulleys. Could try that. But then that might mean the belt size might be a problem then. Really got nothing to lose with it. That's a shame. I thought the shafts were the same, but they're not. I guess it's a 1/2 inch one, and the original one was 3/4 inch. So, I don't know. I don't know if it's going to work. Probably not. But, alright, so that's it for today. I'm going to clean up and put everything away, and then I'll be back in a second. For me, it'll be tomorrow morning sometime. And see you in a couple of seconds. Okay, so I went and I bought the nuts and bolts for the engine mount. The bolts are a little too shorter than I would have liked them to be. Alright, so what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to clean the shaft off here. And I'm figuring it's a good thing that I used the puller to get these pulleys off. And what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to clean the surfaces, pulley surfaces where the belt rides on here. I'm not going to go too crazy with this. So I don't even know if this is going to work. We're going to try it. And also I had to take off this belt tensioner, and that's for the drive. And that applies tension to the belt at all times. Alright, so I'm just going to clean the shaft off here and make sure that the everything fits back on here as it should. Slides on and off real easy. And then I'll mount the engine. I'll put a couple of bolts in there and see, how the distance is as far as the pulleys, how they're going to be. So I think this may work. I'm not really sure, but there's only one way to find out, as I always say. Okay, so I took and I cleaned up the shaft real good here. With this. And also I cleaned up the surfaces here where the belt rides on, and I also made sure that these slide on in and out real easy. And what I'll do next now is I'll set the engine on, and we'll see on what part of the mounting plate bolt holes we're going to be using, and I'm pretty sure it's the ones, like I said, that were all the way forward. So okay, so I'll get set up to go over there and get ready to set the engine on. Okay, so I put 2 bolts in the engine, and I'm encountering a lot of problems here. The shaft, I didn't measure the output shaft here. This output shaft is actually too short. So, alright, so what I was able to do is, because of the belt tensioner down here, it was going to hit this pulley here for the drive belt, and I stuck the spacer in here, and that seems to be lined up pretty decent, but not perfect. I don't know, maybe I could have put a thinner spacer in here. And now the biggest problem is here, this pulley here for the auger is not lining up with the bottom pulley here. So I mean, so far this is really a bust. What I'm going to try to do is I'm going to try to find, since this is a 2-piece pulley, I'm going to look at my pulley container and see if I have like a 1-piece pulley that'll fit on the shaft, and then I could bring this out a little further because it's a 1-piece, as long as some of it is hanging on. I mean, this is not, you know, this is a crazy way of doing this thing here. This engine just doesn't fit. So I'm going to see if I can work something out with this. While I was doing this, it was a little bit of a pain to do, and I really couldn't give you a good camera angle on this because I had to go left to right and back and forth and so forth. So I'll get back to you soon, and I'll see if I can get this thing. What I'm going to do right now is I'm going to put the other 2 bolts in the engine and just tighten all the bolts up that hold the engine on. But I mean, drive will work, but as far as the auger goes, I'm not sure yet, and we'll see what happens. Okay friends, this is pretty much a bust, and the reason why is the drive belt is riding pretty decent here. I didn't have a 1-piece pulley. That would have been nice if I had it, because then I could have stuck the pulley on there if it fit the shaft, so it would stick out a little more. But the best thing I could do here was I put shims in between the back part of the pulley here to bring this out, and it's not perfectly lined up really. This is the tensioner here. So what I'm thinking is going to happen is everything's free. I just pulled the cord, and the auger's not on unless I hit the auger lever. I could bring this out. I could put a washer or a couple of washers in here. I could undo this bolt and this nut here and make it so this the tensioner will ride back here more. But one or two things are going to happen. It's either going to throw the belt or it's going to chew up the belt running it this way. But I am going to try to start it up and see if everything works. But funny thing is, I didn't have any problem with the dry belt. That worked out pretty good. So let me get set up and we'll start it up and see what happens here with this. I'm not too confident about it. So this older Tecumseh here engine, not compatible with what I wanted to try to do here. But I wonder if I can get my hands on a pulley here that fits the shaft, a 1-piece pulley that this whole thing will be moved out this way. See, that's the problem, the 2-piece pulley. Like, this outer piece has to fit on the shaft. You get, because otherwise it'll just wobble around. So I did have to put a washer in between the 2-piece pulley here to loosen the belt here. The belt was actually too tight. Let's try it and see what happens. This will definitely not be going up for sale or anything like that. We'll just hang on to it. I'll use it on the jobs if I have to, if it works. So we'll call this a jalopy too. I still have to fix this. I don't know if I'll make a video fixing that. I don't know, but let's see what happens after I start it up. The idler pulley makes a heck of a racket. I'm going to try to shim it over. This isn't right. It's probably going to end up throwing the belt or something. I'll check the condition of the belt right now and see if it got chewed up or anything. Okay, so I couldn't get that pulley bolt off. In the meantime, it threw the belt. So this is a failure. It's a bust. But I almost had it. It almost worked. But maybe I could stumble across a pulley, a one-piece pulley maybe, that I can use on there. I don't know. I guess the next thing I have to do is try to come across an 8 horsepower Tecumseh. These yard machines aren't even worth the trouble of fixing anyway. It's a hunk of junk anyhow. But well, friends, I came up with a solution. Even though it looks like an erector set, this is the old pulley on here. I use that as like spacers. And what I did was I looked at my pulley container, and I found this. I hated to do this. It's the upper pulley for the cooling fan on the Gravely. And what I had to do is I cut this piece off it. You guys are gonna hate me for this, you Gravely guys, but I still got other ones of these already on shrouds and stuff, so I'm not really worried about it. But okay, so what I did was I cut this part off the other side here. I just smoothed it out really smooth and nice so it would fit good. And since this is the longest bolt I had, what I did was, this is the inner part of the pulley here, so I bolted it in this way with a lock washer, and hopefully that'll work. And it works. And I just tried it and it's not making any noise, and we'll try it again right now. I'll be right back with you. And the rainstorm's coming like they promised right now. Friends, I don't like giving up on anything. This is a mess now with the wind. Let me cut this real quick and then we'll wrap it up again. Noises or anything, and it's starting to rain all over everything. I just want to show you that the auger works, but it even dries. This is pretty cool because I was ready to give up on this, but I don't like giving up, like I said. So thanks for watching again. Yeah, that's it. I think the next project we're going to be doing is a Gravely project. So that should be coming up soon. Just far and few good days to work because it's still cold. It's still winter out. And I'm going to put everything away now, and that's it for this. Thanks for watching. I hope you got something out of this. You cannot do what I did. You shouldn't do it. I did it. I'm going to keep the machine. I'm not going to sell it like that. Although it'll probably be okay, but it still takes the same belts, the original belts that it took before. I didn't change any belts. The auger stops running when I release the handle. Thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next one, and stay safe.